Welcome to Battle of the Bits, the Sega Slayer 64 show that we kind of forgot about, but in which we take two games, or in this case, two emulators. Usually the rules are we take two games, one on Master System, one on Genesis, or one on Dreamcast, one on Genesis, or, we take an older gen game and a newer gen game, and we have a battle, and that was kind of stupid, sorry about that, but we have a battle, okay, to see which one is the best. Well, I had the idea to take this, and let's do it for an emulator. So here we have the Battle of the Bits, Android Emulator Edition. So we have over here in the right corner, we have our good friend Md.Emu. Now this is a paid emulator in the fact that it costs $4.99. It has superb emulation, superb speed, superb features, and it is overall a good package. But over here in the left corner, we have its alternative. A free alternative, Super MD, a Genesis emulator that's free that almost offers the exact same prowess as Md.Emu, but maybe just not as good. But hold on, we're gonna see. Today I'm gonna be testing it out. I have different things I want to test out for these 5 different categories, and we're gonna see how do they stack up against each other. Who is the best? Who is the worst? Should you pay for Md.Emu, or is it not worth it and you should just get Super MD? Find out in this video. So hey Slayers, I'm the world's coolest Sega enthusiast, Sega Slayer 64, and welcome back to another video, you know what I'm saying? So today, I had the idea, right, to take Battle of the Bits, a series I haven't touched in a little bit, just because I haven't had time, and do a video about 2 different emulators that I use on mobile, okay? Md.Emu and Super MD. Which one is the ultimate Android Sega Genesis emulator? We're going to be testing that out today. Now, Md.Emu cost $4.99, while Super MD is free, okay? There are 2 different emulators, you know what I'm saying? They're almost the same, but just a little bit different. So today we have 5 categories, maybe less than that. I can't remember. We got to check. But we need to see how each of these emulators do. First category, price. Second category, ease of use. Third category, ads. Fourth category, features. And fifth category, Genesis and Master System games. Who plays the games different? Who plays the games better? So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start off right here with the first category, and that's price. We're gonna go ahead and go to Super MD first, and the first thing you're gonna notice, it's completely free. You can just download this, no problem. But the reviews here aren't looking too good. It worked great for some time, then suddenly a lot of stuff stopped working. As I see others here right as well, they stopped getting input from my Bluetooth controller, and on-screen touchy buttons also don't work. Playing with the settings to make it work. Getting a lot of bad reviews here, Super MD. You're not looking too good right now. Alright? Now, we're going to go over to our boy Md.Emu. MD. Oh wait, that's MF, sorry. Md.Emu. Now, first off, I do want to explain this because somebody out there in the comments is going to say this. Oh, well, Sega Slayer, this is not fair. Md.Emu is always going to win because it's a paid emulator. You had to pay $5 to get it. Sure, yeah, I did pay $5 to get it, but that doesn't mean anything. There's paid emulators out there that are get destroyed by other free emulators, okay? The so-called premium emulators don't always do better than the free emulators. Not to mention, you don't always need to pay for a premium emulator, you know what I'm saying? What is Md.Emu offering that I can't get on Super MD for free? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm doing this video, to help you make the choice. If you're in Genesis and you want to get you want Genesis emulation on your phone, which emulator should you go with? Should you just say screw it and pay the $5 to get Md.Emu, or should you go with the free option and not have to pay anything? That's what we're going to see today. But anyway, with Md.Emu, The price is actually $4.99, $5. Kind of steep for a mobile game, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you can get something like Minecraft for $7. So mobile games are starting to go up in price. They're starting to become normal. Like they're starting to get closer and closer to the higher games. Like real games. You know what I'm saying? Won't be long now before you're paying $20 for a mobile game, and that's pretty average. I remember when 99 cents for a mobile game was still considered expensive. You know what I'm saying? But still, it is a $4.99, but, they do promise quality. You can see it gets updates pretty frequently. Last update was March 6th. See, we fixed rotation issues on certain older 32-bit, like the Nexus 7. There was rotation issues, but you can see each of them, also let's look at the size of the download, okay? 0.98 megabytes for, Super MD, for Md.Emu, and for Super MD, let's see. They don't actually give you any they're not even showing you how much it is. That's so weird. I feel like they should show you how much it is. That's already a point deducted from Super MD. But anyway, let's look. We can see, it gets regular updates. Now, Super MD does have the more downloads, and that just has to do with the fact that it is a free emulator. The free stuff is always going to get the better downloads. The point being, you know what I'm saying? Need to pay separately to play on Android TV. I thought I could download the game to my... Oh, no, yeah, that is also a downside. You have to pay again if you want to download it on Android TV. It is amazing. You could do cheats very easily. Oh, yeah, I forgot about cheats, you know what I'm saying? And look, you can see the people who actually made this, he's behind a lot of the stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like the SNES emulator, SNES 9X, which is for some reason free. We got the C64 emulator, which is $3.99. We have the GBA emulator that he's also made that is also really good for $4.99. So this guy he prides himself, right? He has a PC Engine emulator here, an NES, a Game Boy Color, you know what I'm saying, an MSX. Wow, the MSX is actually probably the most expensive one. But the point is, the man prides himself, okay, in quality, okay? Quality. You get quality with Md.Emu, and that's why I think the $5 is worth it. But as in terms of who wins this category here, I'm gonna hand it to him. I'm gonna say it's a tie, and the reason it's a tie is because, again, they're on two separate categories. This is a free one, and that is this is a paid one, and Super MD is a free one. So this category right here is a tie. Both of them have 1 point. Okay, now it's time for design. UI design. That is ease of use is this category. Now, when you want an emulator, you want it to be easy to use. You don't want to be hassled. You don't want to be, trying to find your way around, being confused. We don't want that. We want ease of use around here, right? So let's get right into it. First off, we're going to start off with Super MD, and then we're going to move on to Md.Emu, right? Okay, so let's go. Oops, they'll open Md.Emu. You know what? We'll do Md.Emu since I've already opened it. So for Md.Emu, right, you get on, you see all these different options, you know what I'm saying? You see load game, recent game, system actions, on-screen input, key and gamepad mapping, options, benchmark game, about, and exit. Simple as that. Clean. You know what I'm saying? Load game, you click that, you locate your folder where your games are at, and you click a game. Simple as that. There we go. This is a Master System game, but oh no, that's the Castlevania Bloodlines. Never mind. But you see, and then you click your little if you want to change games, you know what I'm saying, you just again locate your folder where your games are located. I accidentally exited mine because I'm an idiot. But you locate your folder where your games are located, you know what I'm saying? But you go back and you see you have the ease of use when you go up there and you click set the little 3 dots, you know what I'm saying? You have cheats, right? Add and edit cheats, very easy. You have reset, save state, load state, add game to shortcut launcher, screenshot next frame, and close game. Simple as that, you know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that. You don't need this cumbersome process to start your game. You know what I'm saying? You're in. And it looks like this because I haven't turned it sideways, but you understand what I mean. You don't need this like crazy hard process to start your game. You just get in and you start your game and that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that. It's as easy as that. You don't have to wrap your head around anything difficult. You know what I'm saying? You're in. That's it. You're in, you're out. You know what I'm saying? You have your games. It's very clean. Now, if we go check out the options here, or no, if we go check out the system actions, you can see cheats and all that again. But if you go check out your on-screen input setup, you can mess with the keypad, and they give you a lot of options here for how you want to mess with the on-screen buttons. You see what I'm saying? You can turn them off or on. You know what I'm saying? You can have it auto. If you have it on auto, that just simply means that if you have a controller on, it'll automatically detect if you have a Bluetooth controller on or not. If you set it to on or off, it'll always stay on or it'll always stay off. But with auto, it'll auto detect if you have a Bluetooth controller or not. So you won't have to continuously switch it back on and off from when you are and aren't using a Bluetooth controller. Virtual gamepad player, you can select what that just means. You can select which player the person playing with the virtual gamepad is. This means this emulator is perfect for multiplayer. Okay, it is perfect for multiplayer. You set your phone up and you're good. You know what I'm saying? You have emulated system options, so that means you can see how many systems, what are the input. You can have 6-button gamepad on or off. You can have the 4-player adapter on. You know what I'm saying? You can choose the size of your buttons. I keep mine at 8.5 because it's perfect for me. But you can set it to, if I show you real fast, you can set it to smaller if you like your buttons really small. Or alternatively, if you're like me, you can set it to really big, like this, for if you like your buttons really freaking huge. You know what I'm saying? And that looks better than, obviously like a widescreen type of thing, but I have mine. I'll set it to widescreen later on, but yeah. So you can do that, you know what I'm saying? But I prefer to keep mine at 8.5 because I just find that normal. You can set the button position so you can move the buttons around. Let's say you decided you don't want A there, you want A where X is. You can switch them around. Let's say you're a person who likes the D-pad on the wrong side. You can do that if for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? Open menu buttons on. You can turn the D-pad on or off if you want it on. If you want to start, you can turn it on or off. You can have ABC on, off, dead zone, you know what I'm saying? You can mess with a lot of stuff. It is really good, you know what I'm saying? It is a really good control. And then here we have key and gamepad. So, this would just be, you know what I'm saying, where you want your controller, you know what I'm saying, set up, individual device settings, other things you have connected, you know what I'm saying? Like Mulga controller, all this different type of stuff, all those auto detect device to set up, and player one, profile Android, and you could just set so much stuff up. You can also on this, you can also general options. You can also where is it? Emulated system. No, here's where you would also set up your your controls for mapping your actual controller. You have the option setting here. Everything's categorized into a nice category. Video options, audio options, system options, GUI options, and beta testing, opt in or out. You know what I'm saying? In the video, you see you can mess with a bunch of different things. Like you can mess with the aspect ratio, the surface textures, game content, the RGB colors, you know what I'm saying? Image effect, overlay, frame rate, 60 hertz. If you prefer now, like this one is good with the frame rate, right? With this frame rate, you can mess with it. So look, I accidentally, for some reason, have mine set to PAL. I don't know why. There we go. Mine is set to PAL for some reason. I don't know why mine is set to PAL. I don't like that. Check screen rate and set. I don't know why it says PAL. That is stupid. It's not. Mine is not PAL, and it also restarted the emulator on me. Whatever. I don't know why it says PAL for me. I'm clearly not in PAL. I'm clearly not PAL. I don't know why it thinks I'm in PAL, but you can mess with it. So if you prefer your games to be like slower because you grew up in Europe, you can do that. That is really good and really easy. You know what I'm saying? You can go mess with the audio, so you can mess with the sound rate, the buffer rate, and all that. Auto increase buffer size, and you can also turn on the Mark III FM unit. Okay, and yeah, sorry about the little cut there, but yeah, you can see you have all your sound options here, your sound rate, buffer size, and frames, auto increase buffer size. You can mix it with other apps, because usually when you get on Md.Emu, what it'll do is, if you have music playing or another app is running its music, it'll automatically cut that music off. But if you'd rather have your music to stay on, you could just turn on and mix with other apps. It has the Mark III FM sound unit, and that is really cool for games like Double Dragon and stuff like that took advantage of the Master System that took advantage of the Master System FM sound. I'll show you what it looks like on and off later. It's really good. It is really good. I love FM sound in Master System games. Like, to the point, like, man, I really wish the Genesis would have had FM sound built into it. It would have been so good, man. It would have wiped the floor with the Super Nintendo if it really did that in the sound compartment, you know what I'm saying? But then again, you know, you have your system options, confirm auto load state, you know what I'm saying? Fast forward speed, yeah, that's another big feature this does have. If I show you real quick, if I open it back up, I'll just show you real quick. Let's just outrun. It doesn't matter. It has a fast forward feature. You know what I'm saying? A lot of emulators don't have this. Now, I would prefer to have, instead of a fast forward feature, I think I'd prefer to have like a rewind feature. But it doesn't really matter. Both of them are really good. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually cool that MD has that. So Md.Emu has that. All around, for ease of use, I'm going to go ahead and give this a straight up 10. Okay? No, a 9.5. This is a very clean, fast, and easy to navigate menu. It's very like nice. It's very nice. It's very easy to get around. You load your game, you go to your settings, you mess with your controller, you connect your controller, it automatically detects it. It's very clean, very efficient, and just a very nice menu. So overall, I think paying for it in this case right here does this menu really good. It is just a normal, simple, clean menu. Nothing too cumbersome. Nothing that, a beginner couldn't just get on and automatically figure out what to do. It's very easy, okay? It's very easy. Now, with that, it's time to move to Super MD and Md.Emu. I meant Super MD. I'm the idiot. But anyway, let's load it right up, and you can see it loads up like a similar to an old, like, Android app. You see, you get in and you get this load ROM, resume, game, help, settings, and purchase Super Md Pro. Now, Super Md Pro, we need to specify and talk about this real quick. So Super Md Pro is a pro version of Super MD that is offered, that you can buy for like, I think it was 99 cents, something like that, and it all amount upgrades the experience. It removes the ads from Super MD. I guess it gives you a few more features that are locked. Now, if you're gonna pay for it, I'd say just go with Md.Emu. Right then and there. But if you're just looking like, should I get this to not pay for it? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe, if you still want to pay like 99 cents instead of $5, I guess you could go with Super MD. Personally, I'd rather just pay the $5 for Md.Emu. That's why I use Md.Emu. But, you know what I'm saying? It kind of defeats the purpose of Super MD to actually pay for it. But it is only 99 cents, so whatever, you know what I'm saying? So here you can see your settings, and you can see the settings they don't look as clean. The whole, experience here is a lot less clean than Super MD, than Md.Emu, but at the same time, that's to be expected. This is a free emulator. You see, you have your frame skip right here. You could choose how many frames you want to frame skip. You have autosave, enable audio, sound sample rate, maintain aspect ratio, hardware filtering. You can choose your pad, a 3-button, 6-button, configure touch input. You can mess with the touch controls, although for some reason it crashed the app for me. That's already a point off right there. Show touch input, configure key input, reset, select directories. It's as simple as that. You don't get as many advanced options as you get with Md.Emu, which might be, if you're a hardcore Genesis enthusiast like I am, that's a big problem for you. That's the reason I had to get rid of this emulator and go ahead and just decide, screw it and spend the $5 on Md.Emu, because this right here isn't worth it, okay? Now, load ROM, parent directory. You could just go, you go look for, you find your folder where your ROMs are located, you know what I'm saying? And you go into your folder where your ROMs are located. You find a ROM, you click it. You just click, you click the game, and you get an ad. Yeah, that's one of the big problems of this. You do get ads, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to turn that down because that is probably copyrighted music, and I don't think I want to, get in trouble for that. But you can see, and it'll probably crop the screen here, so I'm sorry about that. I'll try and pause it and unpause it. And here we go. You can see, the buttons here are a little different. You know what I'm saying? We're not worried about the emulation. We're just worried about the menu. But you can see the buttons are a little bit different here. Now, the menu, to get the menu to come up here, you actually have to have, the arrow, the box, and the circle on your phone, you know what I'm saying? And you have to press the back arrow on your phone to bring up the menu. not as simple as, MD's.Emu invisible three dots right here. You just click. You have to press that, and sometimes you press it too fast and you go back. But that's kind of a nitpick. I'll be fair. I'm not going to deduct anything for that. That's a nitpick from my perspective. You know what I'm saying? And up here you see you have three buttons: hide bar, quick save, and quick load. Now that is something I do appreciate here, but I mean you have the same exact thing on what you call it on Super MD. On MD.Emu. Although I will say I think the process is a little bit faster on I think the process is just that little tiny bit faster on here than on Super MD. I just think it is just like, look, just that tiny bit faster to quickly click there and quick load is that tiny bit faster. And you also have those three dots up here. You can save state, load ROM, reset game, and settings. The settings are the same setting. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, and you get copyrighted for that too. You get copyrighted, you get ads just for that too. Okay, the settings are the same ones you just saw. You get an ad for trying to go to your freaking settings. Ain't that just perfect? You can, load a different ROM if you want to. Overall, you know what I'm saying? It's very simple, I don't think it's as clean as Super MD, and you get ads regardless of what you want to do, so we're just going to close out. You can't really do anything without getting an ad on Super MD, which is kind of stupid, you know what I'm saying? And it gets annoying. Now, of course, you have ways to you have ways to, get rid of this, you know what I'm saying? Remedy this. There we go. You have ways to remedy this. Oh my god, I can't talk. But you have ways to, stop it from happening. Simple. You can just turn off your Wi-Fi, or you can get an ad blocker, which kind of wouldn't be fair to the developers because they need ads. But you could always just keep your Wi-Fi off. You won't get any you won't get any ads. You know what I'm saying? But that is a big nitpick there. That is really annoying. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, overall, the menus on Super MD aren't that bad. They're just not as good as MD.Emu. If I had to grade them, I'd say 7.5, okay? They're not bad, okay? They're not as clean as Super MD. As MD.Emu, some things don't work properly. Look, we already had it crash one time just from trying to enter the key input settings, okay? The menu's not as clean. They don't have as many, options as MD.Emu. And overall, it's just a very... I don't know. It just feels like you can tell it's a free experience. You know what I'm saying? You can tell it's something you didn't have to pay for. With MD.Emu, though, which again, you can argue this is unfair completely because MD.Emu, you want that quality. You can tell that you're paying for quality with MD.Emu. From the special design in the menu to the, easy to navigate, options, very clear, very precise. You know what I'm saying? You load your game, you get in, and the same thing can be said about MD.Emu. It's just, when you get an ad just for opening the settings, and you still get an ad just from getting back on the app, it becomes kind of annoying. I understand they got to make their money one way or another, but I think one ad right whenever I'm trying to play a game is good enough. You don't have to give me an ad just for accessing the settings. That's a bit annoying. You know what I'm saying? That's asking a bit much. I understand. I understand, again, it's a free app, but to give me an ad just for trying to get into the settings, that is a bit much. You know what I'm saying? I understand if you're trying to launch a game, that's the perfect place to give an ad right before you play the game. But come on, dude. Everything I do, you give me an ad. That's a bit annoying. So, the ease of use menu part of this goes to MD.Emu, hands down. It's the better experience. It's clean. You know what I'm saying? The menu's very clean. It's very precise. It's very... it's very easy to use, easy to understand, you know what I'm saying? You get right into it. Next tab, we have the features, right? So what are the exclusive features of each one of these? Well, I've already showed you the features of MD.Emu, but we can go over again. Those two were kind of together, you know what I'm saying? The three were kind of together for the features, you know what I'm saying? And you see on MD.Emu, like I said, you have first big perk, you know what I'm saying? Compatibility, I guess you could call this. You know what I'm saying? The compatibility of this. So with the compatibility, you have on here, you have access to on MD.Emu. You can use Sega CD, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Sega Mark III, Sega Mark II, and I think SG-1000. On Super MD, you can use Genesis, Master System, And ignore the scam ad. It's probably, yeah, look, it's one of these scam money ads. Whatever, ignore them. But you have access to Genesis Master System, and I think that's all. I don't think you get any 32X, any Sega CD. I think it's just Genesis and Master System, and they call it a day. But hey, at least it is Master System. You know what I'm saying? At least you get Master System. Another feature. This is the feature / compatibility type category, so it's a 2-in-1 type deal. So yes, there are 5. Okay, but one of the big annoyances. I mean, you don't get like the FM sound ability that you get with Md.Emu. That's kind of like a premium feature. You know what I'm saying? You don't get the another thing you don't get on here is the fast forward / rewind. You don't get that on here. You know, it's very cumbersome to, I guess you don't get to like fast forward and rewind. It gets pretty annoying. You don't get that on here. You know, that might annoy some people and that'll turn some people off, because I like being able to fast forward past like cutscenes or stuff I don't want to see, or being able to rewind on parts I died at if I thought the death was kind of unfair, you know what I'm saying, or things like that. You don't get that with Super MD. You basically get a basic game player essentially, you know what I'm saying, which again is to be expected. All that matters is the final category, does it do its job well, and that's what we'll see. But like with features on Md.Emu, you get the ability to use whatever controller you want. You can change your region from PAL to American to whatever you want. You know, I'm just gonna have my video system set to NTSC. You know what I'm saying? A frame rate is set to 60 hertz. You know what I'm saying? You can mess with everything. You can mess with the visuals. You know what I'm saying? You can get image input, overlay, all that. They give you you get a very detailed aspect ratio, 1:1, 4:3, full screen, which is just stretched. GPU, you get all these extra features of trying to mess with things you probably shouldn't mess with unless you're a professional like me. You know what I'm saying? You could choose the game region of the game. So if you want to play the Japanese version of a game instead of the US version, you can change the region. You have the option to set a Japanese CD BIOS, a Japan CD BIOS, a Europe Sega CD BIOS. All of those. You can choose your performance mode, normal, sustained, use big, EDN, SNRAM. You can mess with a lot of stuff here. They give you a very customizable experience for how you want to play your Genesis games. And for the Genesis enthusiasts out there, that's the perfect way to go. With Super MD, it's very different. You don't get that many options, you know what I'm saying? You can mess with some things. You don't get to mess with a lot of things. You get your basic frame skip, all that, blah, blah, blah. But you're not getting the detailed things that you're getting with Super MD. You're not getting the full detailed experience of what you want to do with Super MD. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to fully customize your experience. You don't get that you lose the Mark III FM sound, and that's the biggest, saddest thing, because for the Master System games with FM sound, it is really worth it. It is really freaking good, and it's kind of sad to see you lose that on Super MD. That being said, if I had to grade each one, Md.Emu is getting a 10 in the category, and Super MD is getting about a 5, I'd say, because, and I'm not trying to, but to be honest here, right? We're being honest here. Md.Emu here, they obviously, again, it's paid, okay? Again, this is being fair. It is paid. So you're obviously going to get these type of features with Md.Emu because a lot of effort has been put into it to make it worth your time. Super MD was kind of just, a free emulator with just thrown together to play Genesis games. It's free. You know what I'm saying? What do you expect? You know what I'm saying? So I understand. And then again, to give them credit, you probably get these features if you get Super Amd Pro. You know what I'm saying? To give them credit. So I'll give them credit on that front. But the round still goes to Md.Emu, okay? I'm sorry, but it does. Md.Emu is a perfect 10 in that front. You get good features, very good customizable features. You can customize how you want your Genesis experience to be, you know what I'm saying? Not just stock, you know what I'm saying? That being said, the games. It's time to see how the games play. That's what we're all here for anyway. So I'll be right back with that. So here we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 games, okay? I'm going to take 3 taxing games, okay, for the system, and we're going to compare them to see what works and what doesn't. We're going to take a ROM hack, we're going to take a 3D game, that being Duke Nukem, and we're going to take a pretty taxing game, Castlevania Bloodlines, and we're going to see, we're going to take virtual racing, right? We're going to take Virtual Racing. We're going to take Duke Nukem 3D. No, we're going to take Virtual Racing, Virtual Racing, Castlevania Bloodlines, and a ROM hack, that being Sonic 3 Complete. And we're going to see how each one of them, how they all stack up to see who plays each one the best. Will we get the same experience? Oh, and we're also going to take a Master System game, that being Double Dragon. Okay, so we ready? Let's get right into this. So first off, I'd say we'll start with Castlevania Bloodlines because it is a real Genesis game, and it is a pretty taxing Genesis game. And we're going to see how each one of them plays it, okay? So if I can just find it real quick. Castlevania Bloodlines. Let's go. So as you can see, here's the game. I'll turn it down a little bit. But as you can see, here's the game on Super MD. You know what I'm saying? Seems to be running at perfect speed. Now, it is stretched just because I like my Genesis game stretched. If you don't like your Genesis game stretched, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I know a lot of enthusiasts are, really, really, really picky about Genesis games. Like, okay, I'm gonna be honest here, I'm one of them. Us Sega enthusiast crowd, we can be very picky about our Genesis games and how we want them to look, sound, and be played, you know what I'm saying? A lot more picky than something like, I'd say, the Super Nintendo crowd. They don't seem to be too picky about how they want their games played, but then again, I'm not sure because I'm not part of that community, you know what I'm saying? But I know us Genesis, like, Sega fans, we're very picky about our aspect ratios and things like that, you know what I'm saying? Personally, I'm not too picky about my aspect ratio. I don't care if games aren't in the original aspect ratio, just as long as they're running at full speed and they sound right, you know what I'm saying? And plus, I'm the type of guy, I prefer a stretched aspect ratio anyway, you know what I'm saying? And I can tell you, Super MD runs Md.Emu runs Castlevania Bloodlines superbly. It's perfect for this game. Like, it's almost like it was designed to run it. Everything runs butter smooth, and in some cases, I'd say it even runs a little bit better than a real Genesis. You know what I'm saying? In some cases. So enthusiasts out there, don't go saying, well, Sega Slayer, we don't want that. We want it to run the exact same as it should on the original hardware. It does, okay? I'm just saying, in some cases, it appears to run a little better. You know what I'm saying? But, like, it runs perfectly. It runs butter smooth. You know what I'm saying? You won't run into any stutters. You get in, you play your game, you have your good time, and you can play this for hours. You know what I'm saying? The controls aren't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Now, personally, if you're an enthusiast, I recommend getting, like, a Bluetooth controller, especially like a Bluetooth 8-bit Dell Sega Genesis controller. It feels really nice to play on here with one of those, you know what I'm saying? It feels genuinely really good to enjoy like a Genesis controller on the go, and these games look really good, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, they'll run on pretty much any phone and look nice, so, you know, you get in and you just overall have a good experience with Super MD, obviously, because you should, you know what I'm saying? You should have that good experience. You should have that quality, and I'm trash, okay? Plus, I'm playing with touch controls. Give me a little break. But you should have the quality that you expect, you know what I'm saying? And if we listen to the sound, you can hear. We can hear that the sound is one-to-one with a real Genesis. Everything's on par with the real Genesis, because that's another thing we are very picky about here in the Sega community. Us Sega enthusiasts, we are very picky about how our games sound. And, you know, a lot of things don't get Genesis sound right. Even some Genesis emulators don't get Genesis sound right, but Md.Emu got the sound perfect. They got the quality perfect. You're getting a quality experience. Now, I'll be right back with the Super MD version of this. Now, you can see the first thing I noticed on Super MD is that the buttons are a lot bigger. You know what I'm saying? Plus, with Md.Emu, you know, you have the, I'll just turn it down real quick. You have the, you have the button quality. You know, the buttons are transparent and you can see right through them, so it doesn't really obstruct the game. With this, they decided to give the buttons their own, like, type of graphic style, and it obstructs the game a little bit, and it is kind of annoying. But, I mean, that's besides the point. You can turn these off and obviously play with a controller. But what we want to know is, when we get in, what is it like? Is everything perfect? Is the quality perfect here? Is the gameplay good? Is the gameplay worse? You know what I'm saying? How does it look? How does it sound? That's what we care about. So let's get in. Now, the first thing you're gonna notice here is everything appears a lot smaller on Super MD. Like, everything appears a lot smaller. I don't know why, it just appears smaller on Super MD. You know what I'm saying? Overall, I don't know why. It just looks smaller. Things feel smaller, look smaller. But then again, the aspect ratio here isn't cropped. You know what I'm saying? Sorry about that little cut there, but yeah, for some reason, like, everything just feels smaller. My whip feels smaller, but then again, it is, the aspect ratio isn't in stretched, it's actually in 4:3 at the original aspect ratio, you know what I'm saying? But just things feel smaller on Super MD, at least to me, you know what I'm saying? Second off, the graphics, they look about the same, although I'd say it looks just a little worse on Super MD. But then again, that's another nitpick. It gets the job done, you know what I'm saying? It looks good enough to pass, you know what I'm saying? The job, it gets done fine, and for a free emulator, I'm actually very impressed with Super MD, you know what I'm saying? The games seem to run almost a 1-to-1 perfect to each other, you know what I'm saying? Although you get that more customability for the what you call it, Genesis version. I meant for the Md.Emu. I can't get it out for whatever reason, but yeah, you get the more custom mobility. But I mean, for the one-to-one, everything seems to look perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I'll probably see if I could put a little comparison of the two at the end. I'll see if I can do that. If not, it's not there. But if I can, do that on Power Director, I will add a little comparison of the two games at the end. Overall, I mean, the gameplay seems to be about the same. You know what I'm saying? Although, like, I could swear my whip feels a little smaller on here. But maybe I'm just, I'm probably just delusional. I don't know. Everything seems to run perfectly, look exactly perfectly. You know what I'm saying? The two games look good, okay? That much I can say. They do look good. Everything seems to run fine, and I'll give you the audio comparison for my enthusiast out there. Here's the audio on Super MD. Okay, there we go. Now, I don't know if you guys heard that, right? I don't know if you heard that. Some of you might be saying it sounds the same, but to an enthusiast, it does not sound the same. And you know why? You hear a few cracks in Super MD's audio. Like, I don't know if you can hear that on video, but in person, there are a few cracks in the audio, and you can hear it, and it's very noticeable. You know what I'm saying? With Md.Emu, you don't hear that, but like in Super MD, you hear the audio crack up a little bit. Like I said, not a big deal to some people, but to the enthusiast, like I said, the enthusiasts do not like their audio messed up. They do not, and I'm one of them. I hate Genesis audio to be messed up. And other enthusiasts, Sega enthusiasts out there, we do not like our Genesis audio to be messed up in the slightest. You mess with the audio, you pretty much get a thumbs down by every enthusiast in the world. You know what I'm saying? But like the audio, man, you do hear some cracks. It is noticeable, especially if you have on headphones. Those cracks in the audio are noticeable, and it's a bit annoying, to say the least. At least if, like I said, if you're playing like with headphones on or something like that, the cracks in the audio are annoying. But they're not noticeable to the average person just looking to play some old school Genesis games. The cracks in the audio won't be noticeable. You know what I'm saying? If you're just looking to get your old Genesis on, it's not noticeable. But if you're looking to actually like play and enjoy these games on a regular basis, yeah, it's pretty freaking noticeable. The cracks, if you're here's how I put this. For the enthusiast crowd, the cracks in the audio, not so good. For the non-enthusiast crowd, you guys probably won't mind. You know what I'm saying? That being said, overall, for the Castlevania Bloodlines gameplay, I'd give them a tie. They seem to play the games perfectly the same, you know what I'm saying? Although I could swear Md.Emu just feels a little bit, Super MD feels a little bit smaller, you know what I'm saying? And the cracks in the audio are a big problem for Genesis enthusiasts, but like for the average player, you'll get by. Overall, if I had to give it, I guess Md.Emu technically has the better gameplay experience, just because the custom mobility of it, you can customize your experience, get that stretch resolution or a smaller resolution, however you want it. You don't get that here. And also the audio is definitely better on Md.Emu. Although I will say this, that is from my testing. I personally heard cracks in the audio. So if you test this out on your phone and you don't hear any cracks, I'll leave a correction in the comments, so you can just comment down below. But I heard cracks in the audio. I did hear cracks in the audio. I heard it. I'm not sure if it shows up in the video, but I heard cracks in the audio. Okay, that being said, we'll move on to our next game, which will be a ROM hack. Okay, so I lied. I said it was going to be a ROM hack. No, it's actually going to be virtual racing. We got to get into this, and we got to see if this will play and how it will play. Because, you know, virtual racing is one of those games where it doesn't always want to play on everything. Some emulators can't run it. Certain, like, aftermarket consoles will not allow you to play it at all. And it's a very spotty game. Even certain models of the freaking Genesis can't play the game. Like the Model 3 Genesis cannot play the game, and that's an official model Genesis. But a lot of like later Genesises and even like earlier model Genesis do not play this game, and that just has to do with it having the SVP chip. So, you know, certain emulators don't play it either, and certain ones just don't work right with it, and it turns out to be a mess. So let's see. Virtual racing on the Md.Emu. Okay, Sega logo seems to work fine. And there we go. You see what I'm saying? If you look up at the top, you can see the screen flickering like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Again, virtual racing is one of those games that emulators and consoles, aftermarket consoles, can never seem to get right. And I don't know why. And that flickering is kind of freaking annoying. So I'll just press start here. You can see the game flickers. Like, it's flickering. Look. It's like, virtual racing is one of those games that systems cannot get right. You see it's not flickering here, but it is flickering on the menu, and it is flickering in the game. Maybe that's just a problem. Let me restart that. Oh, well, when I fast forward, the flickering kind of stops, but, you know, it usually doesn't do this. Maybe I'm just used to it not flickering like this. Hold on, maybe I don't remember it flickering like that. Maybe I'm just, you know, crazy and it always does it. I'm gonna have to go back and watch one of my old virtual racing videos, but that flickering is freaking annoying. So, you know, like I said, a lot of emulators have problems with this. A lot of them have problems with this, and I don't know why. And you can see, I hear audio glitching and everything. Virtual racing is like a very glitchy game when it comes to emulators. So, you know, I'll probably give each emulator a pass no matter what it looks like, because like I said, this game is kind of hard to run on anything besides a real Genesis, because it's like, I don't know, it's just like the SVP chip does not play nice with a lot of emulators, a lot of aftermarket consoles. It does not play nice, and that flickering is very noticeable and very annoying, and it kind of takes away from the experience of the game. Maybe let's see if I go mess with it. Maybe it was because I messed with some of the video settings earlier. Let's just go back and mess with that. Like here, I mess with that. Let's see there. I set that to 50 hertz now. Until you will reset the game. And let's see if that decides to fix it. No, it still doesn't. I guess it always flickers like that. I don't remember it always flickering like that, but I guess it does. Wait. Let's restart that and try now. Oh no, okay, so I guess it just always flickers like that. Well, yeah, you know, this one, I mean, besides the flickering, I can say Md.Emu, you know, everything sounds in order, you know what I'm saying, if you listen. Yeah, see, you can see everything sounds in order. The sound is in order, but that flickering does make this kind of, I don't remember doing this, but I guess it always did, and I just never paid it any attention. That flickering makes this, I don't even know if the flickering is showing up on camera, right? It might not be showing up on camera, and if it's not, okay, but in person, it is flickering like crazy. Just the top part of the screen, not the bottom of the screen. If it's showing up, you know it's showing up, but it is very noticeable. Okay, in person, it is doing some intense flickering. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the camera isn't fast enough to catch it. Maybe it is. I don't know. You'll see in the video. But like right now, it's doing intense flickering, and it is getting on my nerves. Maybe it's always done that, and I've just never noticed. But it is doing some crazy flickering. You know what I'm saying? So that, I mean, virtual racing. Like I said, I'm gonna be fair to each one of them because I didn't expect anyone to play this game too good. Because like I said, this is requiring the SVP chip. You know, everything runs spotty with this. Even real Genesis hardware still to this day runs spotty with this game. So you got to be careful. You know what I'm saying, about how you do this. You know what I'm saying. So that's Md.Emu. We'll see about Super MD now. So here you can see, obviously, you know, Super MD does play virtual racing. And you can see, you know, this has been embarrassing, but you're not getting any of that flickering. Obviously, I have it in 4x3, so maybe that might be, you know, maybe that might be the problem. Maybe I'll give, I'll see about Md.Emu and give them the benefit of the doubt, but you see, it's working. It's actually, so far, if this is true, it actually plays better on the free emulator than on the paid emulator, if that's the case. But I want to be fair, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna see something and change the aspect ratio to 4x3 because maybe the game originally flickers, but you know, maybe it's because I have it in stretch. If it continues to flicker, Super MD is getting this point. But so far, from the gameplay side of things, it's faring very well on Super MD. It's running good. It's running really nice. And you know, you know, if I have to give it to Super MD here, I'll give them their point on this. It is running really freaking good. So that surprised me, especially this being a free emulator. Most emulators don't, even most of the free emulators don't even implement virtual racing support. So to see it here and working fine, I'm very surprised in this. I am, and it's running good. First off, we just need to test it though, and I'll let you hear the audio. The audio test to see who wins the audio. You see what I'm saying? The audio just kind of sounds a little worse on Super MD. I don't know if that's just because it's supposed to, but it just doesn't sound as clear and vibrant as Md.Emu. So, you know, audio department, I'm definitely giving it to Md.Emu. The audio here sounds like very like crackly and just not as good, at least in my opinion. Like the audio sounds a little bit less like perfected on here, but you know, I'm being fair. So anyway, let's just switch back over to Md.Emu real fast and test something out real fast with the video. So let's just I'll turn that back off, and we'll go ahead and we'll see if I fix the aspect ratio. I have the video system set to NTSC, but hold on, let's just set that to audio real quick. Let me see something. Let me reset that, because it was set to auto originally. No, you still get the flickers. Well, how about this then? The last thing to see. We'll do this last thing right here, and we'll I'll set the aspect ratio to 4:3, and then we'll reset it real quick. Okay, so you know I gotta start wrapping this video up. You know what I'm saying? But to keep it short, the aspect ratio when I set it to 4:3, it was still glitched. It was still glitched and flickering. So the point goes to Super MD for that perfect emulation on there. Besides the audio, the point goes there. There's no way around it. Point Super MD, 10 out of 10. Md.Emu down to about, I'd say, other than that very noticeable flickers, Md.Emu gets a 4. I'm sorry, the audio was good and everything, but the flickers kind of takes away from it. But it's time for Double Dragon, the NES, the Master System version of the game. That's the Genesis version of the game, the Master System version of the game. And you see it plays Master System ROMs just fine, but if you listen, if you listen real quick, you notice that you'll have, on the Master System side of things, you have the FM sound immediately enabled on the Genesis, you know what I'm saying? You don't get that. I don't think you get that on Md.Emu. You see, you have the FM sound. The game obviously is playing perfectly, but you have the FM sound, and you can also turn the FM sound off, if you notice, but I just want you to take a listen real quick. And that is it with the FM sound, but without the FM sound, if we go and we turn the FM sound off, and we go and we reset the game, you can see it sounds a lot more 8-bit and not as good, and you can hear the song too. You see, you hear how the song is just a lot more 8-bit? The FM sound really makes a huge difference on here, and that's one of the reasons I think the audio is overall better on Md.Emu. That FM sound, man, it can really improve the experience of your games, you know what I'm saying? With it, just listen to it. Overall, the FM sound really makes a big difference here on the Md.Emu side of things, and it would be a big reason to play it. Now let's go ahead and test out Super MD. And as you can see here, we're over here on Super MD, and the thing you'll notice, the very first thing you notice is you're not getting that FM sound. You don't get that FM sound. You're not getting that here. And you know, it's very noticeable and kind of sad, you know what I'm saying? Because I think the FM sound works really good on, you know, for this game. And, you know, not to have it here is just kind of sad, you know what I'm saying? I prefer it. And also, the controls here are not as good when it comes to Master System, because it gets rid of the rest of the buttons, and I hate that. I don't know why. But the controls aren't as good. But anyway, yeah, you lose that FM sound, and that is a big loss. Overall, the gameplay just doesn't feel as good on Super MD. But, I mean, it looks exactly the same. The game seems to be running fine, but the controls kind of make it annoying to play. So I recommend playing with a controller. That can be remedied. But, like, without the FM sound, it makes the whole thing kind of like not as good. So I'd have to give the Master System side of things to Md.Emu. And overall, the winner of this is undoubtedly Md.Emu. You should have known that from the start. I mean, the game, it's a paid emulator. It has better features, better reviews, better quality of life, easier to use with more custom things you can do. You can customize more, you know, customization. There we go. It has more customization. It is overall just a nicer emulator. The design is better. You know, everything is better. But Super Md.Emu, the audio is better on Md.Emu. The gameplay is better on Md.Emu. Only thing that wasn't good was virtual racing. And like I said, I'll give that a technical pass because lots of things don't run virtual racing right, but Super MD did exceptionally well at virtual racing. All around, winner of this bout, Md.Emu. It's the better option. I think it's worth it to just skip over Super MD and just pay straight for Md.Emu. If you need a free emulator in a pinch, Super MD has your back. But overall, the genuine winner of this is just Md.Emu. No way getting around it. It's just a better emulator. That being said, if you're new here, if you could subscribe, that would be really awesome. We're trying to reach 300 subscribers, and you'll be helping us out a lot. Make sure to share this video with your friends to become a Super Slayer. I've been the world's coolest Sega enthusiast, Sega Slayer 64, and until next time, have a good one, Slayers.